Hello everyone, my name is Veritas and welcome back to Destiny. Now today is Wednesday, the day after reset day, but it's also the day after a nice spicy update. 2.3.0, the one about hunters and some other things, came out yesterday. It also changed some things about the weekly reset, so I'll be going over those immediately here. If you watched yesterday's video about the Nightfall, that is different now. They actually changed the Nightfall to Omnigul. I think this is the first time Omnigul has shown up since Taken King came out. But there are some differences to the Omnigul strike and some things that will lead into other things from that. So the strike is now Omnigul with Epic, Solar Burn, Specialist, Juggler, and Exposure. This means things are fucking angry. Solar damage from all sources is increased. Your special weapon does increase damage while your primary and heavy do reduce damage. Ammo boxes for your currently equipped weapon will not drop. You need to switch to a different gun to get that ammo to drop. So if you need primary ammo, switch to your specialist or your heavy, and then they will think things. So that's Juggler. Juggler sucks. And Exposure is you do not get shield regen, but you get a lot more shield to begin with. Now, moving on from that, Vanguard Heroic Strikes. You might be saying, hey, those look like modifiers. You're right. They finally added modifiers to Heroic Strikes. This was not in the patch notes, which makes me think they might take it away, but they better fucking not. This is the most fun I've had in Heroic Strikes ever. Heroic Strikes now have Heroic, Arc Burn, Brawler, and Ironclad. Arc damage from all sources is increased, Guardian melee damage is increased, and more enemies have shields. I would go play now. This is very fun. They also seem to have upped the drop rate of legendaries from strike bosses, which makes farming for specific things, namely the Grasp of Malok or Omnigul Bond from the Nightfall, much more easy. And the Heroic Strikes actually dropped a lot of stuff. I've gotten a lot more legendaries from the Heroic Strikes than I ever have in the past. Now you might be thinking, you mentioned the Grasp of Malok. What the hell is that? It is this pulse rifle. If you were going to play the Nightfall this week, I would suggest trying to farm for this bony wonder right here. Why is it good? This is an all-around good legendary primary. First things first, it's legendary, which means you can use an exotic in your other slots that isn't this one. A lot of people will, have to worry about, it's an exotic in my primary slot. This is a legendary, and it's a pulse rifle. It's pretty good. It's pretty fantastic for PvP and PvE alike. This is a not great roll, but it's pretty good for me. You're going to want something like Counterbalance, Perfect Balance, and then probably Glass Half Full, and one of the red dot sights for PvP, for, damage and stability. I like this one for everything. I love it just because of the Perfect Balance and Feeding Frenzy, namely. But this is a very good pulse rifle for pretty much every fight. I use this all the time in endgame activities like Challenge Oryx hard mode raids, so I would snag that. I've also built my character out to be arc-based because of Heroic Strikes. The other thing, why are you on a Gunslinger, not a Nightstalker? So they've nerfed the evasion abilities for the Nightstalker and the Twilight Garrison. You used to be able to Shade Step twice, or Garrison evade twice per 3 second cooldown, roll, or evade, and then wait 3 seconds, then you could do it again. They've reduced that to just 1 evasion per 3 seconds, so you can Shade Step once, wait 3 seconds, and so on. Same thing with Garrison, 1 evasion, 3 seconds, that kind of thing. So I'm not using Shade Step anymore. They've also changed how the tether works. Tether will now activate on impact, so there's no longer, shooting the bow, it impacts, wait 3 seconds, it finally does something, then the fucking, the Titan has killed you 7 times and is teabagging you. This suppresses on impact now, so that's pretty helpful for that. Also, you can jump out of smoke, but the radius is increased, something like that. Let me actually scroll down to the Hunter here and go down to Nightstalker to give you the full effects. This thing I'm reading is also in the description. If you want to just click off of this right now and go read the full 2.3.0 update list, it is in the description if you want to see that. Let's see here. Shadow Shot now applies suppression effect on impact, and this is all the changes for the smoke grenade. It is a long list. Changed to be less frustrating when playing against in PvP, but more effective in PvE. The impact damage of the smoke grenade is increased by 34%. The impact suppression and damage over time is reduced by 1 second. Jump suppression removed from initial impact status effects. Unupgraded smoke cloud duration increased by 1 second. Envenomed. Let me just go to these so you can actually see what I'm talking about, so you know what I'm talking about here. Envenomed. Cloud duration increased by 1 second. Envenom also jump suppression removed from cloud status effects. Vanish in smoke, agility +1 removed, which is kind of sucky. And then snare down here. Snare, cloud duration increased by 1 second. For passives, we have, where is that? We have Courage of the Pack, Increases recovery, armor, and agility by 2 per stack, which is pretty nice. For Courage of the Pack, we also have a stack up to 3 times, so you can see there that that has been changed in the tool icon. Courage of the Pack, Lockdown. Where is Lockdown? Lockdown. Now increases smoke duration by 2 seconds, plus 2 additional seconds with snare upgrade. Predator. Predator now reduces the cooldown of Shadow Shot ability, which is kind of nice, actually. And Shade Step move to a single dodge and a 3-second cooldown. So those are the things changed for the Nightstalker. Let's go over and talk about the Blade Dancer, because Blade Dance has been kind of a topic of this sucks, why does it suck, please help us. So here we go. I have skipped actually some things about the spike grenade, but it's not incredibly important. Most of the grenades in the game have been changed. Actually, let's talk about the Gunslinger instead, because I want to keep this video relatively short, but I do want to talk about the Gunslinger, mainly the Gunslinger. And then we'll talk about some new chromas that they added into these Sterling Treasure boxes. So, Gunslinger. Swarm grenades. Swarm grenades increased arming radius by 0.5 meters. The detonation damage is increased by 7%. Trip mines no longer attached to targets. It arms on impact and then bounces to attach to the terrain. So if you hit someone with this, it will arm it and then stick below them and then blow them up. Trip mine damage is also decreased by 3%. Golden Gun. Golden Gun base damage is increased by 50% with an additional 30% versus AI combatants. The Dead Eye perk now increases Golden Gun damage by an additional 30%. This means Golden Gun in PvE activities with Dead Eye does 110% more damage. Let me make sure I did the math right. 110% more damage than it used to do. So, that being said, with Celestial Nighthawk, does 6 times damage. It does 660% the damage it used to do. I think that's how math works. It's fucking insane. Now, speaking of the Nighthawk, I'm going to really quickly go back to the Nightfall, which is Omnigul. If you want to farm the Grasp of Malok, you're going to want to have 2 Nighthawking Gunslingers and 1 Tether Nightstalker. Why you want this? When Omnigul first appears in the first room, you can kill her and get boss loot from her and then, push forward and kill her again at the very end. Or you can just keep farming her there, then dying. Kill her at the very first room, wipe, kill her at the very first room, wipe. That's a possibility. What you're going to want to do, tether her, and then shoot her in the face with a Dead Eye Golden Gun Nighthawk. It will kill her, I think, in 2. I think 2 kill her. So have the other 2 hunters shoot her in the head. She dies, she poofs into loot, which is namely the Grasp of Malok or the Omnigul bond down here. This is actually the biggest bond physically for a Warlock. I will show you in a minute what it looks like on mine. It is crazy huge. But that's that for that. So, throwing knives have been nerfed. Why? I don't know. People don't like these throwing knife and trip mine changes, but they are here to stay. Base damage reduced by 10%. Circle of Life has been modified. Modified functionality. Precision kills with throwing knife reduce the cooldown of Golden Gun. So that's precision now. Circle of Life no longer extends the duration of Golden Gun. So this is changed from... This used to be while you were in Golden Gun, if you get throwing knife kills, it increased the duration. It was useless. Now, if you get precision kills with it, it will reduce the overall cooldown as opposed to giving it more duration. And Circle of Life gives you... it used to give you +1 armor. That has been removed. Passives. Scavenger. Scavenger. Increase the amount of grenade and melee energy awarded by 33%. This is 33% stronger. Chain of Woe. Chain of Woe, +1 recovery added, and Over the Horizon, +1 recovery removed. So you're probably going to want to run... let's see, what is this? Precision immediately resets cooldown. So this will... I actually am going to keep going with Knife Juggler, because I like... having the throwing knives. These fucking throwing knives are great. Some of the other changes, let's talk about the Warlock real quick. Actually, let me go to my Warlock and talk about the Warlock changes when I get over there. Veritas, how are the Warlocks different? They're different. I'll tell you how. This is the Omnigul Bond, first off. I want to show you what it looks like. It's huge. Look at this thing. It's so big. It's so bony and hard and massive. It just... I actually really like how this looks. It's a really cool bond. It's actually freaking huge. By comparison, this is like this is a regular bond size. It's like tiny and whatever. The other one's like, wow, that's a big bond there you got there, friend. So first things first, Sunsinger has been retooled to be more of a support build. and Voidwalker is now more of an offensive build than it was previously. Why is that a thing? Firebolts finally got nerfed. All you PvPers out there screaming at the screen, crying over this being something that kills you in PvP. Instead of getting good, you complained to Papa Bungie, and Papa Bungie said, "It's okay, little baby bird. We have fixed it. Stop your bitching." You can tell I'm kind of pissed off about this, because I didn't think these were a problem, but apparently the PvP community has been, like, freaking out about Firebolts. So, increased arming time by 0.2 seconds. They take longer to basically do damage, and decreased the victim search radius by a meter. These are now searching 1 meter less radius, which means that they basically implode on themselves and then are useless, so I'm glad you guys complained about those. Scorch Melee. Scorch Melee, the Flame Shield, which I think is this one. Flame Shield, 0.3 second delay added before overshield activation, so when you melee something, there is enough time for someone to shotgun you in the mouth. That way, people with shotguns have more fun than you do. Moving into passives, Viking Funeral. No longer extends the duration of Ignite effects. Wonderful. This now instead weakens targets afflicted with Ignite effects, causing them to take 5% more damage from all sources, stacks up to 3 times. There you go. Targets afflicted with Ignite take more damage from all sources. This is 5%, which means if you stack Ignition, all grenades ignite enemies. Let's go Solar Grenade, and then Ignition on all enemies like that. And then we put on Viking Funeral. Now, a target that is ignited stacks up to 3 times. So, 15% more damage on things that are ignited. This stacks with the Sunbreaker Melee, and it stacks with the Tether. So this is crazy. So this is really good for boss killing. I would suggest running this build. This is the build I would probably use. This one, right? This is what you would probably want to use now. Voidwalker has been changed, and I love it because they basically made it better. They fucked Blink in the mouth again because PvP. But Blink incurs a -1 recovery penalty, which means using Blink reduces your recovery by 1. You can see that my recovery would go up if I chose anything other than Blink, but I refuse to because Blink is still, I hold true to when it was in vanilla and it was fun, and then PvP was like, it's hard to fight against, and then they nerfed it because that. Nova Bomb has been buffed. Nova Bomb base damage increased by 50%, additional 50 to AI combatants, and Lance increases it by 25% more. Nova Bomb, if you use Lance, is now 125% stronger against PvE enemies, and is 75% stronger against non-PvE enemies. Ha-fucking-za. I love it. Love the changes. Now, let's move into weapons. Fixed an issue where the Year 2 version of Thunderlord was not available to some players at the kiosks. Fixed an issue where incorrect UI bars were displayed for the Red Spectre auto rifle. Fixed an issue where exotic machine gun stability was ignoring the base stats for recoil. Thunderlord, super good advice. Fixed an issue where Defiance of Yasmin did not have the adjusted zoom for sniper rifles introduced in 2.2.0 5 times and increased the inventory stat by 10. Auto rifles reduced the damage of high fire rate auto rifles by 6%. Looking at you, doctrine of fucking bullshit. Passing. Hand cannons increased initial accuracy and decreased accuracy drop for low range hand cannons. Made damage fall off curve steeper, but to better coincide with intended effective range for hand cannons. Small increase to PvE damage to all hand cannons. This is dependent on enemy class. Thank you. Ammo. It now takes less time for your ghost to automatically grab ammo for you when you are running low on ammunition. Exotics. Reduced slight... I don't have it on this one. Reduced Hawkmoon stability by -5, and perks, slight reduction to counterbalance effectiveness, reduced to 80% as opposed to 90. Exotic armor, talked about that, the Twilight Garrison. Missions, alternative ending to Paradox can now be completed at any time by selecting it from the director at heroic difficulty. This now applies to all of the exotics found in the daily story missions that you used to have to do. Paradox, Lost to Light, and Firewall. Alternative ending to Lost to Light can now be completed by the same thing that unlocks the Black Hammer. The previous one unlocks No Time to Explain, which is this thing that I love very much. And the Firewall mission will now be available as soon as the player has turned in the required item and access it. That will unlock the quest to the Sleeper Simulant. Prison of Elders. The level 41 Prison of Elders has been altered. Level 41 Prison, this one, Arena Activity tooltip now properly indicates remaining weekly legendary mark rewards. These weekly legendary mark rewards are shared with the Heroic Strike playlist and may be earned from either activity. So you can do 3 of these or 3 Heroic Strikes to obtain your 30 marks per week. Challenge of Elders. Varks is angry. Point reduction now grows more severe the longer you are in a given section. The point reduction is now 50 times the number of times he has grown impatient. In the Crucible, we have some changes. All weekly rotating activities. This top bar here is the weekly rotating activities. Actually, I think it's just these 2 on the side, but fuck it. I'm going to circle these. All weekly rotating activities in the Crucible now feature weekly rewards, which I mean, I think you can play any of these to obtain legendary marks for your week. As you can see, you can get legendary marks from these 2. Yes, these 2. Here we go. Another change is players in the activity are listed here, so if I actually did have a friend playing there, it would show you what that friend is, or who that friend is, rather, which is pretty nice. And they fixed an issue where Trials of Osiris boon icons from House of Wolves persisted after deleting Trials Passage. Items. New Chromaa. Let's go to the tower. Why did I go to the tower? Well, that is answered right here. They added new Chromaa to the game, so I would have liked to have known that before I dismantled my Expectar gear this morning. Regardless, they added orange, magenta, and green, so you can get these for your weapons and your armor from these packages. Sweet. So, they can be found by dismantling Spectar gear from Sterling Treasure boxes. Fixed in issues where players who did not own Taken King could purchase Sterling Treasure. Why? Decil items are now correctly listed as guaranteed items instead of possible in Sterling Treasure boxes. Preview. Fixed an issue where daily heroic story missions were from House of Wolves were not properly awarding legendary marks. Fixed an issue where the Road Unraveled ship, which I think is this one. The Road Unraveled ship would be unobtainable from future War Cult faction packages for certain circumstances. I don't know why, but this one became unavailable for some players at random. Fixed an issue where the Kicks Dance emote was not displaying proper announcement text, and fixed an issue where Varks would not sell Dreadfang to players if the player obtained or dismantled the sword on all characters. Fixed an issue where equipping the Armor of Vows New Monarchy ship, I don't have that one, caused a false postmaster notification, and friends are now displayed in the director by the activity that they are playing. So those are some of the changes. I didn't talk about Titans because I don't like Titans. I didn't talk about Blade Dancers because I don't play Blade Dancer. So go check the description if you want to see all of this shit. But yeah, some changes came. Some changes are here. I'm kind of worried that the Heroic Strike modifiers were not meant to be there because they're not listed, but I hope I'm wrong. Otherwise, good patch, actually. All around, I'm having a lot of fun. I don't actually like the Night Stalking Hunter. I liked it because it was utility-wise the best thing to use, but I love the Gunslinger. And now that they've buffed Gunslinger, it's great to be able to play that way again. They actually buffed all of the supers that are offensive by a good amount in PvE and overall, which is nice because you can kind of use whatever you want wherever you want it. So that's nice. I'm happy about that, actually. Very happy. Overall, changes are good. There's still some weird shit like that they haven't listed, like Heroic Strikes having modifiers and the loot from those playlists like the Nightfall and Heroic Strikes being upped percentage-wise. But overall, good things came and are here to stay. So I'm sorry for the long video, kind of random, but I did want to talk about how the Nightfall is different. I wasn't wrong yesterday. It used to be Fallen Saber, but whatever. I'm actually going to go record a video about how to do Fallen Saber easily, like the way you're supposed to do the strike, in my opinion. But keep an eye out for that one. There's going to be some stuff soon. I'm doing a series about how to play the game. Hint. If you want to see more from me that isn't me babbling off of a list from Bungie.net, go ahead and click the little eye in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, or tap it with your finger if you are on mobile. You will find playlist of Dark Souls 3 co-op with my buddy Kat, and Fallout 4 Far Harbor DLC with me wandering around with an old-timey voice effect. Click around the channel if you want to see more. Subscribe if you would love to. If you like this video, leave a rating. Yeah, that's about it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until the next video, have a great day, everyone.